Pleasure to speak with you this evening about the Poudre River Whitewater Park. I think as you're all aware, the Whitewater Park has been open for just a little over a year. We celebrated our grand opening on October 12th, 2019. It was a wonderful event. We had incredible weather. We had a great celebration. A lot of folks turned out. We had live music, which made for a kind of a festive atmosphere. And we had a river filled with boaters, which really added, I think, to the specialness of the day. You know, now that the park has been open for about a full season, it just gives us an opportunity to look back and evaluate a little bit how it's performing. This is a study that was prepared by American Whitewater over an 8-day period in July. And you can see here, Whitewater Park visitation averaged approximately 896 visitors per day. Total daily counts range from approximately 400 users on a Tuesday to a maximum of 1,500 users on a Sunday, following an expected trend that more visitors come to the park on a weekend. The most popular times of the day at the park are between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. The American Whitewater study suggests that the most common activity at the park is sightseeing, playing with kids, picnicking. The most common watercraft activity was tubing, accounting for approximately 62% of total watercraft users. Other popular uses included swimming, surfing, and stand-up paddleboarding. It's important to note, however, that as this study was conducted in July, after the typical peak runoff season, kayak user counts were expectedly low. So it really didn't take into consideration those kayak users in July. The park has been well received by a broad range of user groups, including boaters, fishermen, tubers, casual users, and nearby neighbors who visit the park frequently. The boating community has provided positive feedback on the wave features and their performance over the first season. Although some minor adjustments or tuning of the features may occur at some point, the waves are performing very well and in some cases better than we expected them to. The Poudre Trail, which is adjacent to the Whitewater Park, remains very popular with many different user groups. The Whitewater Park has created a must-stop location along the trail, resulting in many trail users visiting the park for a few minutes or an extended stay. Overall, there have been only a few concerns voiced by adjacent businesses regarding the park. On heavy use days, parking has overflowed into adjacent lots, requiring some additional signage from these businesses to alert visitors that parking for the park is available on Vine Street or in the dedicated off-street parking lot. Neighborhood use of the park has been relatively heavily. Many residents of adjacent neighborhoods, particularly Old Town North, seem to be visiting the park on a very regular basis for evening walks, to watch boaters in the river, or just take in and enjoy the park. Restoration efforts at the park have performed better than we anticipated, honestly. The upland native seed plantings really thrived in the first season. We continue to expect growth over the next few years of that native seed. The willow whips that are planted along the riverbanks are also taking root. We're really encouraged by that, and we're anticipating those will mature even more in the coming seasons. This is an image of the Stormwater Wetland that's in the middle of the park, and the stormwater enhancements are working well. The restored wetland is functioning as anticipated. Stormwater runoff comes from Vine Drive, and actually the entire drainage basin north of Vine Drive drains into this area. That water is diverted to this wetland and through the Old Coy diversion channel. So we've repurposed that channel. The water is then filtered and cleaned and released into the river. In terms of safety, to date, there really have only been minor injuries reported at the park. We've had a few minor slips and falls. Police and rangers have worked effectively to patrol the park and discourage illegal behavior. We've seen transient activity actually decrease in the area since completion of the park. It's really not been a significant issue. The city is coordinating with the UP Railroad on a regular basis to keep the upstream trestle free of debris. Poudre Fire Authority swiftwater rescue teams have conducted many training sessions in or near the park and are ready should an emergency occur here. But due to heavy use the first season, some minor bank stabilization efforts are needed along the north bank of the river below the pedestrian bridge. And that's some work that we're anticipating to take on this spring. In terms of river health, the Whitewater Project contributed to the overall lift of river health by creating improvements to certain riverwide problems at a local scale. The first Poudre report card, prepared in collaboration between utilities and natural areas, was recently prepared. This report card, it measures the health of the river from the canyon all the way down to the plains. Flow, sediment, water quality, floodplain connectivity, and aquatic life are just a few of the health indicators that are evaluated as part of that study. And as you would expect, river health is better in more naturalistic environments than in the urban context of Fort Collins. But removal of the co-diversion structure, restoration efforts along the riverbanks and floodplain, and the addition of the fish passage channels have significantly improved the health of this reach from what it was before we began the project. In 2021, city staff is collaborating with the Coalition for the Poudre River to refine the assessment methods to be able to apply this assessment framework across the entire river, from the headwaters all the way to the confluence. From this work, we hope to produce a second comprehensive Poudre River report card in a few years. So when we look at economic impacts, you can see here the preliminary economic modeling, which was prepared as part of the American Whitewater Study. It suggests that the Poudre River Whitewater Park contributes at least $250,000 annually to the local economy, with the average spending about $30 a day. And you can see how that compares to the Poudre Canyon user, which might spend $50 to $60 a day. In terms of next steps, some minor improvements to the park, including bank stabilization, lighting, and signage, are anticipated in 2021. A Reach for feasibility study is nearing completion, which provides a framework for the next improvement project downstream. But overall, city staff and community members alike characterize the project in very positive terms. We feel like the Poudre River Whitewater Park is well on its way to becoming a landmark Fort Collins destination. That concludes my presentation.